3.
We are 10 games into the season for the Sacramento Kings. How has the season gone so far in comparison to preseason expectation?
Well, it depends on who you are, and it depends on what your expectations were. Obviously, it's a loaded question. I will tell you this much. I said before the season started, I thought they would go 5-13 in that first 18-game gauntlet. And as of right now, I think they're actually, I'm just going by the numbers here.
Are they right on pace for that?
I think they're on pace, or they're even maybe a little better. Let's see. They're winning exactly 30% of their games, so that would mean that they would win 3.6 of their first 18, if I did my math right. Is that right? 13-3, yeah. Wait, 33 times 18 is, 3 times 18 is, nope. Wait, hold on. 3 times 18, 36, and then you add another 18, right? So that's 46, 50. Okay, so that's 5.4. Probably. Is that right? 36 plus 18 is 54, right? Okay. So they're on pace to win 5.4 of their first 18 games. I said they'd go 5-18. By the numbers,
they're right there.
They're exceeding expectations. Yes. They're also on pace. Again,
so they're going to be 5.4 and 12.6?
Yes, that's exactly right. They are on pace to win between 25 and 26 games if this pace were to continue. Now, on the bright side, if you're wanting them to win the most games, this first 18 games of the schedule is ludicrously hard. On the other side is, we talked about this a lot, their roster may very well, and dare I say, hopefully, will not be the same come February as it is right now. And if they were to trade the most likely candidates, the Zach LaVines, the DeMar DeRozans, even maybe the Domantas Sabonis's, et cetera, they're almost certainly not getting like-for-like talent back. We've talked about that before. So, schedule really hard right now, going to ease up. But also, roster may also go down just in a pure talent form, which may or may not keep them around that level. My thing is, you're either all in or you're all out. Like, 25 wins is better than 40 if you're going for the rebuild thing. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to go 25 wins, let's just go for 20. Who cares? Let's do it. Nobody's going to be like, those extra 6 games.
Right.
Right now, as it stands, early draft conversation, Jason.
Very early.
As it stands, they are in a tie with, hey, look, the Dallas Mavericks for the 5 spot.
Okay.
When it comes to that. And then there's a few teams like the Hornets, Jazz, and Clippers, who I expect to do better than 3 and 6, that are they have a game in hand on us, good or bad. So I would say, dare I say, Jason, if we're not getting into the minutia, which we will, but just looking at it from 50,000 feet, I would say from my perspective, and my perspective only, I'll only speak for me, this season has gone almost exactly as I expected.
That's what I wrote down. So the question is, like, how is it matched up to expectations? I'd say it's been predictable. Mm-hmm. Now, inside the predictability, I think where it's falling is roster construction.
Yes.
I think that's a big issue for this team. But I think that's a fact, but also it's not an excuse.
Sure.
They have a roster problem.
They do have a roster problem.
But I've heard, and I'll use players and coaches, like they feel like they have enough to be more competitive than certainly Friday night and last night. So they have some really good players, some talented veterans, some guys that know how to win games in this league, that I think it's more than fair to ask them to be better defensive players.
I agree with you.
I mean, pick your player. This team has not been good defensively. So I think the part that surprised me most, I guess, is how much of an emphasis I know it is for Doug and probably for Scott Perry to be better defensively, and there may be worse. And I don't know that it's based on their roster. I think it's predictable, but again, I'm going to go back to that can't be an excuse. They have been injured a little bit. I think, in fairness, Keegan being out is a big deal, but whether it's Keegan or like fans last night chanting for Keon Ellis, and I totally get the love for him, they're not making up 30 points.
No, they're not.
They might be better. There might be some better defensive sequences, better times where, okay, good, but the other guys are better offensive. They have a mess.
Yes.
That they are trying to sort out in real time. And some days are better. where you go, hey, look, they won because they scored 133 and they held the opponent to 130.
Right.
That feels like their best chance to win right now, to be special offensively. That's a lot to ask. And when you're playing some better defensive teams like OKC and Minnesota, I think it's going to be a long night, and that's what we saw again last night.
One of the things you and I talked about, too, when it came to defense, and Doug has been, and Scott Perry both, hey, if you're not playing defense, you're not playing. Well, they're not playing defense.
Nope.
And you and I have talked extensively. I think the phrase I often use is you can't ask a dog to moo. You can't ask a cat to bark. Like, it's just, do they have the personnel out there? And Zach LaVine spoke last night. Remember, there's 10 games into the season, by the way, on that question. Come on, Zach.
I think everybody's
That's low.
understanding that's the focus. I think that's what they came into the season with. Obviously, there's a personnel thing with that goes with it as well. Guys can go out there and play as tough as they can on defense. I said, speak for myself. I think we've all been trying. I've been trying my ass off on defense, but you need a team collective, the right identity. Sometimes you need the right personnel out there. You're not going to ask Rudy Gobert to go out there and average 30. So he's a defensive guy, though, and that's his job.
That's literally what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's almost verbatim. You're not going to ask Rudy Gobert to go out there and get 30. You're not going to ask a cow to bark.
Right.
Zach LaVine is saying for everybody to hear, we don't have the personnel to play the defense that we need to play.
Yeah, and I think if they did, so let's give in our imaginary world, Dave, the Kings have Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. I think then you have the luxury of going, okay, we can start DeMar DeRozan. Yes. We can start Zach LaVine because of their gifts as offensive players. Mm-hmm. And, hey, take a chance on the wing, overplay here, you get burned. We got a great goalie back there. He's not going to stop them all, but there's a little bit of a safety net. And I think if you really look at their starting lineup, the way it's constructed, well, it's changed a lot. But let's take last night's. I don't think Sabonis is a plus defender. No. I don't think LaVine or DeRozan are plus defenders. No. Achua, it's tough to tell. He's just starting. I'll give him just mid. I don't even know.
And then Schroeder, I think him, Schroeder, and Sabonis are about this. They're not going to hurt you. There's going to be times they're pluses, but these are not. I
feel Sabonis' plus is his rebounding ability, but I don't feel like there's a lot of resistance. Right. But I think it's. I don't know if we try to go to any other. We like to use analogies just in everyone else's life. If you're a boss and you can't get your employee to do you just have to keep. Hey, I told you to get this in on this time, or can they do it? Can they be better at it? I think the answer is yes. Now, again, I'm not asking any of them to be all defensive players.
Right.
But I think it's more than fair. If you're going to play your offensive guys, you have to be better defensive players. Again, no one's saying be all league.
Right.
You're not going to be.
Right.
Can you be better? And I think the answer is yes. What that looks like, I don't know.
I don't either.
And is there the ultimate? What has always been said, like the test of time? You know what the ultimate answer is? The bench.
Yeah.
And that element has not been utilized yet. And look, we can't pretend that there's not politics in sports.
Sure.
So it might be like, hey, I don't know, use our show. Like Dave, you're not doing what the boss has said.
Yeah.
You're not working
on
today.
Right.
Now, that's extreme, but okay. Hey, player X in the starting lineup, sorry, you're coming off the bench today.
Yeah.
I would hate that. That's public. Yes. Can you do what I've been asking you to do better?
That's right.
And again, there's agents, there's contracts. That's the logical thing, sit them. Yes.
Yeah.
But
there's actually a real life example of this. I'll go a step further because I know you're being nice. Arguably, my biggest weakness as a sports talk show host has always been hitting my breaks on time. Mm-hmm. It's always been. Yeah. Back to when you were the boss. Mm-hmm. We would sit and talk about it. Yeah. Our new boss talks about it. There are times when I'm really good at it. There's a lot of times when I'm really, really bad at it. So the show in itself is incredibly successful right now. And me not hitting my breaks, me not hitting our breaks on time, and I say me because that's not a team effort. That's the one thing that I control more than anyone on the show is hitting breaks on time. is by the numbers, whatever our ratings are, they could be better. I mean, we're really inside baseball here, but I like the point you're making. But is it enough to, like, I just have to get better, because if I'm not, then I let the team down.
Right.
And it's the same thing. Is it enough to bench me? Maybe not. But could I do better and do 100% of my job instead of 91% of my job? Absolutely. It's the same.
You've heard it.
I've heard it at
every
length.
PD say it, right?
Every single PD said it. I get carried away, and we talk and we go over whatever.
So if tomorrow, for the rest of this week, they
Yeah.
said we're switching seats.
Yeah.
And next week you're back.
Yeah.
Does that probably for a while?
I would,
right?
Yeah, but I would also say this: like, if they were like, I don't want to. Hypothetically, if they were like, cool, so every day at the end of the day, we're going to total up the your total breaks, and every break you don't hit is a $25 fine.
So is that the motivation?
I'm hitting my breaks, dude.
Yeah. We had a competition before. Remember how great you were?
We had a competition before.
Yeah.
Wait, aren't we supposed to be having?
I think pretty soon.
I thought it was supposed to start. Anyway,
but like,
yes.
What's the equivalent
that's it.
there?
I don't. That is
Because I
yeah.
think the option always, I don't really want to put a player's name on it, but a starter is then benched. And then it's like, well, I know I belong in this league. Let's just trade me.
Well, let's continue in the radio world.
Okay.
So I get fined $400 for missing 4 breaks on Monday,
Oh,
right?
You're not missing another break.
Okay, I'm not. But also, hold on. But also, I am in a financial position where I desperately need to maintain my employment status for many reasons for the expenses I have. Now, if I'm making $28 million a year,
Yeah.
I'm getting that fine, and I'm calling my agent. And I'm like, dude, this isn't even in the contract. I'm
Right.
not doing this. In fact, I'm going to miss 8 breaks tomorrow
Yeah.
just because.
Are they doing it to any other show?
Yeah, exactly. And it's up. So it's apples to apples until it's not apples
Right.
to apples.
Are they doing it downstairs to someone in sales
Exactly.
that's arriving 4 minutes late?
Yes,
or
I'm
whatever?
sitting out. Now you can't trade me because I just tanked my value. So
Right.
you want to trade me over to ESPN 1320 for Kenny Caraway and about 4 first-rounders. No offense, Kenny, but that's probably the price. Fine, but now I just take my value. Why does the ESPN guy want me? Because I can't hit my breaks. Why does he want to deal with the headache? And now I'm calling I mean, that is, in a weird way, the politics of the NBA in a really dumbed down form. It's not rocket. I mean, it is rocket science in a weird way, even though it's not.
Yeah, and it goes back to the imbalance of the roster, where generally the guys that aren't defending very well are pretty gifted scorers.
Right.
All right, so some of the guys that may defend a little bit better, oh, well, it's okay, let's play defense, we'll figure out how to score. Well, they have more trouble scoring.
Right.
It's back to the imbalance of the roster, too.
Coming up at, we're going to do Kings Rewind at 7:43. I think at 8, we'll get some more audio, and then we'll get back in this, because we got to talk about Keon Ellis, and we have to talk about Doug Christie.
Sure.
And I just want to preface this by saying you and I are both huge Keon Ellis fans. I'm going to be livid if they end up screwing him off to another team and he ends up being a stud for them. But I also, I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit, because once again, not that he's Kyle Guy, but I've said it before. Every bad year, there's the Kyle Guy All-Stars. There's the one player that if they played more, we need to get into both sides of this. They're not handling it correctly, in my opinion, but also
He's not covering a 30-point loss?
he's not covering a 30-point loss, Jason. We'll take a break. When we come back, Week 10 in the NFL. If you're a Niners and Kings fan, not a